Hello and welcome to the ABCA segment on blocking. I'm Travis Hudson, the head volleyball coach at Western Kentucky University. This session is known as Blocking What Matters Other Than Vertical because, without a doubt, physicality plays a part in being a great blocking team. Our teams here at Western Kentucky have always been known for ball control, defense, and offensive efficiency. And so if you're looking for us as one of the top blocking teams in the country, you won't find us in those statistical categories. But I think you would find that we're a team that's improved drastically over the last several years. We've been fortunate to be a team that has been in the top 25 in 8 of the last 9 years, I think. And we don't always play with top 25 physicality. But when we get to the NCAA tournament, one of the things that's, always a real factor in us advancing is being able to get other people stopped. Offensively, we usually succeed at a pretty high level, but being able to get the other team stopped, and certainly, blocking plays a big part in that. How did I end up doing blocking? Again, I'm certainly no authority on it, but I think we as coaches, all us coaches, nobody ever wants to tackle blocking. None of us think that we have the answers. When I do clinics, and I'm sure it's like that for a lot of coaches out there, when I do clinics, and somebody's asking someone to speak on blocking, everybody kind of starts staring at the floor and doesn't want to tackle it because they just think there's a lot more out there, and that there's some magic spell somewhere else that they don't know yet. And, blocking can be really tough mentally to work on as coaches and as players because it's such a low success rate skill. It's little by little improvements. Again, just the thought of someone blocking one ball in an entire 25-point set being considered one of the elite blockers in the country tells you what a low success rate skill it is. Because, in a 25-point set, there's a whole lot more times when you don't have success, it seems, than when you do. A couple disclaimers as we move forward. One, I would tell you, know your team. As you're working through this, I hope you get a few things out of this, but I'll still tell you, if you're a team that's just developing, my first 4 or 5 years as a head coach, we hardly ever did a blocking drill in our gym because if your team can't pass, if your team can't serve, you don't need to be spending much of your time on blocking because passing and serving is going to have a lot more to do with your ultimate success than anything you do blocking-wise. So know your team and certainly use your time wisely when it comes to this. Second disclaimer is, there's plenty of ways to teach all these skills. And I'm always hesitant to get in front of people and start telling them this is how you do things because what I've learned in being in coaching for so long is there's many, many different ways to teach things. And, I've always had a very common sense approach to coaching this game. And anytime I've tackled any kind of an issue, it's been, just trying to feel my way through it and find things that make sense to me, because if it makes sense to you, then you'll be committed to it. And if you're committed to it, then your players will feel that. And so, as I tell you a few of the things that we do in terms of blocking, if you agree, great. If you get something new, great. If you totally disagree with what we're doing, I still think you're better off because it just gives you more conviction in the way that you teach it, and you'll be even more committed to it, which I think is a good thing. A couple other things that I want to talk about, is blocking systems and blocking techniques. I'm not going to get into that a bunch. I think the vast majority of the country now has moved towards swing blocking, and we still spend a lot of time individually with our players looking at swing blocking versus blocking in a more traditional sense, or a static block as we call it. Again, I think when you look at the numbers across college volleyball, more people are swing blocking than anything else. But I've done this long enough to know that if you stay in it long enough, everything ebbs and flows. And for a while, defense was weight on your toes and playing forward and pushing, and then it was back on your heels and balanced, and now it was make a read and be on balance. Now it's turn and face. There's just so many different theories, and it kind of goes back to what I said before about being committed. And with our team, we kind of do a combination of both. Our middles are all using swing blocking technique, but several of our pin blockers are still in more of a static or traditional format. And I think it's really important to understand your players and what works best for them. And I think it's okay to not just be a swing blocking team or just be a traditional blocking team, but to be able to marry the two of them a little bit, certainly with your pin blockers. And we try to teach our pin blockers to be able to use both techniques. And I think those things are affected by, timing of the set and, just there's various different things. Sometimes being a little higher is not, more trustworthy, if you will. And so we kind of balance all those things out. Another thing, when we get in the gym, we're going to go to the gym here in a minute. I told you I'm a very common sense person. We're going to share with you some of the tools that I've developed over the years. Some of these are ones that other people came up with that I really like, that we'll show you. And some of the things are just areas where, our team struggled and I couldn't figure out a way to get them to understand what I wanted. And so, I'm certainly not an engineer by any stretch, but my mind would start working on ways, what could I develop that would kind of help them, because I'm really, really big on helping players feel things in the gym and on the court. I think we can tell them do this, but if we can help them feel what it feels like to do a certain thing, I think very often that helps you get the breakthrough that you're looking for. And so that's why some of these tools have been helpful for us to do that, because it allows us to use whatever tool we've come up with to help those kids feel exactly what it should feel like, and then they're able to transfer that into the gym when they're in live competition. So again, no question, vertical does matter. The teams at the top of the country in blocking every year are certainly some of the more physical teams in the country, but there's still a lot of technical aspects of blocking that allow our teams to be able to get people stopped and to be able to be a bigger, more efficient blocking team than maybe they were otherwise, that will allow you to get teams slowed down just enough to be able to stay in matches and compete. And we're all trying to maximize who we are, and that's more what this session is about, is trying to look at the blockers we have, no matter if their wrists above the net or if their armpits above the net, and find ways to really be efficient and use it in a way that helps you. And so with that, we're going to head back to the gym and show you some of the things that we do.